Good day, everyone. We are from Group 3, William Miduk Shakespeare, and now we will explain about Romanticism. And here about members, there is Muhammad Hamzah, Syafiq, Chesya Purba, Giovanni Goh, Ariel Simarmata, Annisa Danin, Stephani Anastasia, Ainur, Rafika, Azni, Miduk Simangunsong, dan saya and I myself, Kevindo Silalahi. Next. Okay, this slide will explain about from my friend.
Okay, so I will continue. Now, before we go any further, let's get to know what is Romanticism. Next slide, please. Okay, so Romanticism was both a literary and artistic movement that emerged in Western Europe between 1785 and 1832. It developed as a symbolic response to the Age of Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution, which emphasized rationalism and modern progress. Romanticism, on the other hand, focused on emotion, imagination, nature, and individual subjectivity, returning to the roots of human spirit, creativity, and natural beauty. The term Romanticism itself originates from the Old French word romance, referring to medieval romance stories rich in imagination, unattainable love, chivalry, and heroic quest.
All right, I will explain about Romanticism in the first wave. So this early phase of Romanticism rejected Enlightenment rationality and the cold empiricism of industrial society. Romantic literature embraced the struggles for freedom, justice, and individuality, favoring a more emotional and imaginative depiction of the world. So it means, as we know that for Enlightenment era, so it will be based on empiricism, based on the fact. So people were tired because of the machine, because of that, people seen that they can be concluded as a machine, and that's why people started to look back at the nature, and they started to embrace the struggle for their freedom, and also they started to introduce about individuality as well.
Okay, I will explain about this. That is the ideological pictures. So the celebration of nature is a dual force, pure and beautiful, yet also violent and terrifying. The emotion and imagination as a primary sources of truth, and then the spirituality and the inner life of the writer, often touching of the supernatural, and the isolation of the melancholy is to express unique inner experiences. The common man as a symbol of natural subjective importance. The idealization of woman appears in pure, perfect, and unattainable features, and the personifications and pathetic policy to reflect mood through nature and objects. Next slide, please. So this is the notable writers. The first, William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. They bring the literary work, there is lyrical ballads in 1798. This is about a foundational romantic work that celebrated nature, common life, and individual emotions. And the second, William Blake and Sonnets of the literary work is songs of innocence and of experience. That is in the 1794. There is a mystical and symbolic exploration of purity versus corruption in human experience. And the last is William Blake. The literary work is The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. That is in 1790 until 93. This is about a visionary work combining poetry and art. This is challenging conventional morality and religious doctrine.
Okay, I will continue about High Romanticism. High Romanticism is also known as the second generation or second wave. The second generation marked transition toward more intensely emotional and personal themes, embracing radical viewpoints, autobiographical experiences, and the exploration of irrational and supernatural realms. It reflected on nationalism, mortality, and cultural origins, often combining love, horror, and sentimentality in a single narrative.
Okay, next, I will explain about ideological futures. So for the first is the sublime, overwhelming emotional experience in the face of the nature majesty. And then the second is individualism and personal freedom, the assertion of unique identity and rebellion against social convention. And then the third is dream, legend, and occultism. Exploration of the irrational and the mystical. And then the last is the poet as visionary. Artists climb deeper insight into human experience through imagination and emotion.
Okay, I'll explain the notable writers in High Romanticism era. There are Percy Bysshe Shelley, Ode to the West Wind in 1819. It the nature as a revolutionary force, emotional and spiritual renewal through natural elements. The wind represents power, freedom, and the poet wish for renewal and inspiration. The second is Lord Byron, Childe Harold Pilgrimage in 1812 until 1818. It tells the story of a lonely and thoughtful traveler, the Byronic hero. The characteristic of this is a melancholic, defiant, and emotionally profound character. And the last one is John Keats' Ode to a Nightingale in 1819. It's about the contemplation of love, beauty, and death. It is a meditation on fleeting nature of life.
Okay, I'll continue this part. My part is late romanticism. Late romanticism is the final stage of Western romanticism, introduced bolder ideologies and darker themes, amplifying idealistic artistic freedom and deepening emotional expression. Writers intensified their attention to political discourse, human complexity, and visionary writing, frequently portraying the artist as a conflicted, prophetic figure. This phase also merged romanticism with realism, symbolism, and impressionism.
So now I will explain about the ideological features of this era, which is the late Romanticism. The first is the artists, which the artists are projected as emotional, nostalgic, rebellious, and deeply human. And they are often represented as tragic, idealistic figures in these works in the era of late Romanticism. And then the second ideological features that they tackled in this era was mortality, which is viewed as both a sorrowful and a spiritual return to nature and communal wholeness. So they also tackled the themes of death and life here. And then the third ideological feature that we have here is the social reform, which was an engagement with poverty, oppression, and national upheaval. And romantic literature becomes a call for liberty, justice, and emancipation. And then the last ideological features in this era of late Romanticism was that it has visionary depth, which was how the writers saw themselves as historical agents, urging the reader to awaken their truest human nature. So those were the ideological features of this era. And now we move on to notable writers of this era of late Romanticism. The first we have Mary Shelley with her work Frankenstein from 1888. This work was a Gothic reflection on isolation, ambition, and the tragic consequences of defying natural order. And then the second writer that we have here is John Keats with his work To Autumn from 1820. And this work was a romantic ode that celebrates the beauty and ripeness of nature while subtly reflecting on change and mortality. It personifies autumn as gentle and fulfilling, capturing a calm acceptance of life's natural cycles. And then the last writer we have here is Victor Hugo with his work Les Miserables from 1862, which was a sweeping narrative exploring justice, compassion, and the plight of the marginalized. So now we move on to the conclusion, which is going to be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, so the conclusion is Romanticism transformed the way people understood art, literature, emotion, and individuality. It championed imagination over intellect, feeling over reason, and personal experience over societal norms. Its pure political revolution ignited social reform and laid the foundation for modern literary and artistic expression. Go back to moderator.
Okay, guys, thank you for our presentation. I think that's all from our group. And now we open the Q&A section. So if you have any question, you can ask. Time is yours, guys. Okay, Dian.
Okay, hello, my name is Annisa from Group 1 with ID number 015. And my question is, mm, how does high romanticism differ from earlier romanticism in terms of thematic focus? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dian, for your question.
Okay, I'll be the one to answer Diva's questions. So you just asked about how does high romanticism differ from earlier romanticism in terms of thematic focus? So the answer is high romanticism shifts from celebrating external nature and simple rural life to exploring the inner world of emotion, identity, and the unknown. It places greater emphasis on personal struggles, rebellion against norms, and the power of the imagination to uncover hidden truths. Okay, that's my answer. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we have opened the first Q&A session, and now we open for the other one. Yes, Uswa?
Okay, I'm Uswatun Hasana Lubis, and I want from the first group, and I want to ask a question. And my question is, why is emotion is considered more important than the reason in romantic literature? Thank you.
Okay, Uswa, give me a few minutes to answer for the question. Okay, let me answer for Uswa question. So the question, why is emotion considered more important than reason in romantic literature? And for the answers, as we know that for romanticism is the age of revolution, meanwhile for enlightenment era is the age of reason. So that's why we focus on nature in romanticism, and that's why we focus on the literary work focus more on the emotion, and also for the feelings. So romantic writers believe that emotion reveals deeper truths about the human experience that logic alone cannot explain. So it's more about feeling rather than about logic, and also about reason. Is it clearly to be answered?
Yes, thank you. The answer is clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for your answer. So guys, there are our answer. So I hope this clear. Our answer is clear for you, and here the answer is the end of this presentation. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.